Remember when we said we'd stay together now until forever? Just us, just us. Said we wouldn't be like all the others, fight.
What's up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jessica Hixson, and I spent 5 years working my way up to the top of an MLM before realizing they're just not all that they're cracked up to be. My goal with this channel is to rescue some Huns, to prevent some from becoming Huns, and to also give those a voice who have left the Hunbot industry like myself.
It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling.
All right, you guys, so here is the dealio. If you guys have not picked up on it already, I'm like single momming it up right now because Chad's gone and he'll be home pretty soon, but he's been gone for a couple weeks. So I've been trying to keep up and failing. However, I'm gonna be able to hopefully get all the videos out that I have planned for you guys or that I have promised you guys, but I'm going to skip a small business shout out and a member shout out for today because I just don't have time to go through and look up who's next and look for the website and figure out what they sell and everything like that. If I can get around to it, I'm going to try to insert a clip of one of the small businesses that I have yet to shout out. But right now, I just need to get this filmed before I have to go get the kids. It's also very inconvenient of my husband to like leave me to do all this by myself because I have to go drop my daughter off. Well, first of all, I have to take my son to the bus stop in the morning, go drop my daughter off at school, which is like 25 minutes away. So it takes me like an hour to go to her school, drop her off, and come home. By the time I get home and like get ready, whatever, if I want to work out, go do that. I only have a small amount of time that I can do work until I have to go pick her up in the afternoon because I have to pick her up in time enough to be back to get my son from the bus stop. So I pretty much have from like 11 until 1:30 to get all of my work done. So we're skipping the small business shout out and the member shout out for today, but I'm really excited for today's video. I have a couple of like announcements, I guess, but it's more like tea. Okay, I've got some like inside scoop on a few things, but none of the things really fit into context that like goes with a certain type of video or a certain video in general. So I decided I'm just going to make this a tea video where I just spill the piping hot tea with you guys served on a platter. Okay, so I'm looking a little rough around the edges, but I don't need to explain that anymore because we've already talked about it. So just accept me as I am and we'll move on. Okay. First things first, I was catching up on my friend Michelle's videos over this past week, and you guys know Michelle from my FTC video. She is the one that created the FTC resource to help you formulate a comment when the FTC was doing the public commentary. She's absolutely amazing. She's like one of those friends that will just send you gifts just to let you know that they're thinking of you. She's one of those friends, so she's has my heart. I was catching up on some of her videos over the last week or so, and I was watching this one where she was doing a reaction video to a Hun. Well, then it was brought to my attention that she was reacting to the Hun reacting to the news segment that I was on, like the news article, the Boston Fox News, I think, article that I was interviewed for when I was in Colorado. So she did a reaction video to the Hun's reaction video, and she has so much good information to share with you guys. And she was actually in Beachbody, so she has a lot of really good insight when it comes to Beachbody. Oh, if I haven't mentioned, this is a Beachbody Hun. She has a lot of good insight when it comes to Beachbody. So I will link that video and Michelle's channel down below. But as I was watching this video, I'm like, I have so much I want to say. So I'm going to go through the Hun's video today and do a reaction video to her doing a reaction video to my news segment. I hope this all makes sense. It probably doesn't, but first things first, I'm going to go ahead and roll the clip of the news segment just to kind of refresh your guys' memory on what all this segment entailed.
Federal regulators say complaints against multi-level marketing companies jumped during the pandemic as more people look for new ways to work from home. Multi-level marketing is a controversial business model where people make more money by recruiting more people to sell products. Boston 25 News reporter Jason Law says there are ways to tell an MLM from a pyramid scheme.
Many of us have encountered a multi-level marketer, whether it's a neighbor selling products or a family member trying to recruit you to join their sales team. We spoke with two women, one who says multi-level marketing changed her life, and another who spent her time warning others to avoid MLMs at all costs. They tell you you can be your own boss and work from anywhere. It's the perfect side hustle, they say, to build a rock-solid residual income. Multi-level marketing is a billion-dollar industry, and one of its selling points is that it's easy to make money.
It's not easy. It should be simple, but not easy. It requires work.
Jody Chase says she is one of the top earners for Rhode Island-based company Pure Haven. Chase said she can earn $15,000 to $20,000 a month because she has around 2,500 people under her selling products.
It's entrepreneurship at the heart of what this is.
But here's the catch. Out of those 2,500 salespeople, Chase says only around 10 are actually making a livable income. Chase says the business model isn't to create six-figure earners, but rather thousandaires, or people making $300 to $1,000 a month.
You need to look at this as a business if you want it to reward you like a business in the future. And not everyone does.
People can earn money in multi-level marketing two ways. Number one, by selling the company's products yourself to retail customers. Number two, and this is the controversial part, by recruiting new distributors under you and then earning commission based on what they buy and sell. Your recruits and the people they recruit become part of your sales network, and that's known in the industry as downline.
What MLMs make it look like on the outside is not at all what it's like on the inside.
Jessica Hixson is a former multi-level marketer for a Midwest company. She now has a large following on YouTube where she warns others about MLMs.
The problem isn't the people who are making all of the money. The problem is the hundreds of thousands of people underneath of them who are making nothing.
The Federal Trade Commission says there are ways to spot an MLM that's really just an illegal pyramid scheme. First, your income would be based mostly on how many people you recruit, not how much product you sell. You may have repeated fees like training sessions or expensive marketing materials. And you're encouraged or even required to buy a certain amount of product at regular intervals. Jody Chase says that can result in people having a garage full of stuff that they can't sell.
There are companies out there that require you to buy inventory. And that's, for me, is personally a huge red flag.
Even with all those caveats, the FTC says most people who join MLMs make little or no money. Now, there is a long list of questions you should ask someone who is recruiting you to join their company. And we've posted those questions in the article for this story on Boston25news.com. Jason Law, Boston 25 News.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through this Huns video reaction, and I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. That's the first type of tea we're going to give you, and then we're going to move on to some warm tea, and then we're going to go on to like the piping hot tea. So stay tuned.
Hello, Facebook. I'm outside in this beautiful weather, relaxing with the pups. And I've been itching to go live about this and didn't have enough time last night. And I know that tonight I won't have enough time. So I wanted to go live for you. Recently, Fox 25 News had a segment all about the controversies behind being a part of an MLM, or what people think are the same thing, which they're not, a pyramid scheme. And so I wanted to go live about this just to share with you what I do and where I'm coming from and what I'm looking for in businesses and what I see. Obviously, I am for multi-level marketing in the sense that I work with one, so a little bit biased there, but hear me out. So the first questions that Fox 25 News was asking is, how long have you been doing this? So I've been a health and wellness coach for almost 7 years in August. And at first, when I became a quote unquote coach, I really wasn't coaching people. I just wanted to be sure that I was showing up for myself. So I was pretty much becoming a coach to be a coach for me. And so I thought if I had a title on my name as a coach, I would be more successful in reaching my goals. Okay. And so although I didn't help other people, it wasn't too long after where people were asking me, what are you doing? How can I join you? And that's when it just kind of unfolded and I started to help other people. And so it says, how much money did you make last year after expenses? Now, lately there hasn't been many expenses because we're not really traveling. In years previous, going to our conferences would be an expense, but in some ways I always say to myself, like, even though I'm paying to go to these places, I wouldn't go to these places otherwise. So it's just an experience. And honestly, I don't think of it as being an expense.
So she just admitted that she wouldn't go to these places otherwise. That would mean that it's an expense, honey. But I would love to see her taxes, because if she doesn't think she's had any expenses recently and that it's only travel that is included in the expenses, then I'm willing to bet that's not what she claimed on her taxes. I'm willing to bet she claimed a whole lot more expenses than that. And if she didn't, she probably owes a shit ton and also needs a new CPA. But I would love to see that and see if that still stands. Like if she still thinks that she doesn't have many expenses for her MLM. And the second thing I want to mention about this part is that this is why people, including myself back in the day, thought that I was making way more than I actually was, because I wasn't taking into consideration different business expenses, because
I didn't see them as expenses.
although she just mentioned I wouldn't be going to these places otherwise, which means that would be a business expense. But I didn't see them as expenses because I saw them as like I was choosing to do these things because all of my friends were in the business, and I was choosing to go on these
Paycations
that I paid for because my friends were there, and I would be doing that anyway because it was fun. You know, like I convinced myself that these were not business expenses when they actually were. But just because you defend them and just because you justify them and say that they're not business expenses doesn't mean that they're not business expenses. And if you really don't think that they're business expenses, then don't claim them on your taxes. And I bet you would change your mind very quickly.
But anyways, so I digress. So we haven't had a lot of traveling due to the pandemic. Other expenses that we have, and this was one of the things they talked about, is do you have to have inventory for the product that you're selling? And what I love about our business model is that you don't have to have inventory.
This was one of the arguments that the girl in the video also made, is that her company, in the original news segment, is that her company they don't have to carry inventory. So they don't have garages full of inventory that they can't sell, which I love that they try to make this argument, and they try to make it as though like my company's the best because we don't have to carry inventory. But if you think about it, like take a look at the industry as a whole. How many MLMs have to carry inventory nowadays? Very few. Like, of course, there's like one or two here and there, but very few MLMs have to carry inventory. Most of them, their customers can just order through their website and the product gets shipped straight to them. But every MLM company uses it as an argument as to why their company is the best and why they're not a pyramid scheme. But this is oftentimes what they try to do when they're defending MLMs, is they try to shift the focus to something. And this is often something that like narcissists do as well. And I'm not saying she's a narcissist or that all MLM reps are narcissists, though in my opinion, they have a lot of narcissistic qualities about them. Neither here nor there. What they do is they try to shift the focus to make you feel crazy, to make you feel like the issue at hand is something that it's not. So they always bring up this, like, we don't have to carry inventory, so we're not a pyramid scheme thing. The inventory is not the problem for us. It's the fact that thousands upon thousands of people underneath of you have to lose money in order for you to make money. Okay? Or they try to bring up the fact that like every business structure is shaped like a pyramid. It's not the shape that's the problem for us. It's the fact that thousands upon thousands of people underneath of you have to lose money in order for you to make money, and that you have to exploit and manipulate and take advantage of everyone in order to do that. Also, not to mention, Beachbody does have a minimum requirement, but I think she's going to talk about that, so we'll keep watching.
And what they do for a requirement, which is considered a red flag, is that you must order a certain amount.
I love that she goes on like,
and this is considered a red flag, is that you must order a certain amount.
So like you do have a monthly requirement then, is that what you're saying? And it's considered a red flag or whatever, but like not in my company. I used to do the same thing. I used to be like,
It's not required. You don't have to buy every month. You just won't get a paycheck. You know, if you don't run your auto shipment, you won't get a paycheck, but that's totally fine because the next month you can just run your auto shipment and then you'll get a paycheck.
make it make sense.
But the difference between my company and maybe another one is that the inventory or the quote unquote what you're supposed to buy is barely anything. And so for me, I would be buying the stuff that I'm buying because I'm consuming it. I'm drinking a shake every single day. I have these snack bars that I eat every single day. And so I would be buying them because they are good and I need them in my life to supplement my life. So I find that I'm not required to buy anything extra than I would as a customer. So a red flag would be if a company requires you to buy X, Y, and Z each month, that you wouldn't usually buy. That's a red flag because it's forcing you to buy product that you don't need. And so a lot of people will say, well, you know, I don't want to have overstock of anything. Well, first of all, you shouldn't have overstock of anything if you're consuming what you're trying to help others use. So,
Okay.
Allegedly, in my opinion, based on my experience and the experience of those people that I know who have been in Beachbody.
They have overstock just like everybody else in an MLM who buys their rank in order to reach the incentives that they want to reach. I watched Michelle unbox her overstock of products that she couldn't possibly use in time before they expire or before she has to buy more products in order to maintain her rank. Like there's no possible way that you could use all of those products before it comes to that point again. Allegedly, in my opinion, of course, and based on my experience and the experience of Michelle. Allegedly. In her opinion, too.
if somebody were to come to me and say, you know, I have tons of bags of, you know, whatever it is. So for me, it would be protein powder, or I have tons of tubs of pre-workout. Well, that's a red flag for you because that means you're not utilizing the supplements that you're trying to get other people to use. So there should never be an overstock of what you need in your life because you're consuming it and you want it. So red flag if a company is ever saying you must buy X, Y, and Z, and there's a huge price tag to that. And then another red flag is that if you have to have an inventory, like that's not my jam. Like obviously there are some companies you have to have inventory of clothing. I'm not gravitating towards that type of business model because I don't want to have inventory in my house. And so let's see, what's another question? Have you borrowed money or used a credit card to fund your business? Absolutely not. That's another thing that I don't want to have to do. So,
okay, so let's leave out the minor detail though, that like her husband is an engineer. And I looked at the specific salary of his specific job in his specific company that he works for, that he just got a job with. And like, I remember when he got it, but recently just got a job with, and it's starting out at, or averages at $91,318 a year. So they're making good money. So we'll also learn that she has like 87 other jobs, but they're making good money, which is probably why they didn't have to take out credit cards to buy their ranks or anything like that. Also, not to mention that she has been in for 7 years, so she probably has a significant downline that is making money for her.
If I were to have inventory and it was a big price tag to be able to have the inventory in my home, yeah, I probably would have to have a funded amount of money to be able to provide that. So no, that's a good thing. How much did you borrow? I didn't borrow anything, so that's a good thing. And how much do you owe? I don't owe anything because I didn't borrow anything. Okay. Do you need to have recruits to make money? So no, you do not have to have recruits, other coaches on your team to make money. So there is 2 ways of making money, and that is on the retail end, and that's also on the creating a team end. And so that's a good thing. That means that you do not have to recruit other people to be able to make any sort of money. If you were to have people to make anything on a retail end, again, a red flag, not a good thing.
Okay. I'm sorry. This video is probably going to be longer than I anticipated it. I was like, oh, it's only 19-minute video, so it'll probably be a pretty short little segment of this video. But I've got a lot to say. We were also taught to say that you don't have to recruit in order to make money. You can make money just from selling products. But the thing is, they say that so that they're not legally held responsible for being a pyramid scheme. But you can't even make it, at least in It Works. I don't know about Beachbody, the word on the street allegedly in someone's opinion that was allegedly in the company in their opinion. I don't even remember what I was just saying. They also, it's the same way with Beachbody is what they were saying, but in It Works, you can't even get to the first rank of the company without recruiting people. So sure, you can like
Make money.
but you can't like
Make money.
any sort of significant amount of money without recruiting people. You can't be eligible for certain bonuses without recruiting people. All of the incentive trips and stuff, you get points for recruiting people.
Let me see. How many did you recruit last year? How many of your recruits have left the business? What percentage of money did you make from selling products to a customer outside the MLM? So all of my clients that aren't coaches themselves are considered those people. And again, I'm not forcing anybody to buy the things that they don't need. And so when I connect with a client and get to know what their needs are, like that's what you purchase. You only purchase what you need. So
no, because they don't need any of it. They need what you tell them that they need, which leads to upselling and buying things that they really don't need. Also, not to mention, she didn't answer any of those questions. She's just like, the question was like asked how, like what percentage of your sales come from like customers outside of the business as opposed to distributors or whatever. And she said,
All of my customers that aren't customers or that aren't distributors are those people.
okay. Is that the end of the story? Like that's the end of the sentence, or do you have more to say? Because you still didn't tell us what percentage is actually customers or distributors. Okay, cool.
If I have a girlfriend that's like, I got this great shake powder, I don't need another protein powder, then I'm not going to try to sell them a protein powder. And maybe there's something else in my catalog of things that might be beneficial. So I really get to know each person to be sure that what I'm giving them is what they need, not anything more. Obviously, I make suggestions of things that I like and things that I enjoy each day. And one of the things is definitely this freaking yellow juice. I have it twice a day. Cheaper than coffee at Dunkin's. Cheaper than, or actually not cheaper, but less calories than probably the coffee at Dunkin's that has the cream and the sugar and the pumps of whatever, caramel. That's usually what I go for, so.
Ew. Did you guys see when she tipped it up? There's like a bunch of yellow stuff stuck to the bottom. Like it had all settled to the bottom. She needed to stir it. Anyways.
Okay. Let's see. How much time did you spend on your business? So what I love about our platform is that anybody can use any length of time to create their business. So for me, because I work part-time as a dance teacher, right now I have a cookie business that I didn't realize I was getting myself into. I work part-time as a dance teacher. Like I have a lot of loves in my life and passions. And so for me, this is another way to connect with people, which I love to do as a nurse. That's naturally what I am made to do. But I love to be able to help people in a different way. And so whatever the week brings is how much time I can utilize towards my business. Now I've been in the business for 7 years, so I have practiced. She's drinking water out of the Christmas tree holder. I have practiced doing this job for 7 years. So what amount of time that I utilize now is nothing compared to what I did in the beginning. Obviously, I didn't have 2 children, and I obviously didn't have
a downline to do the work for you. Oh, okay.
other things that I was doing. And so at the beginning, I can say I was spending a good amount of time on my business trying to build it. And that's normal to have to dig a little deeper and really dive into any business venture you have. But now what I love about this is that 2 to 3 hours a week, is focused time.
2 to 3 hours a week, babe. You can't be serious. Lord have mercy. They're relentless. I actually wanted to pull up the list of questions because the news anchor that actually reached out to me sent me the list of questions that the FTC provides to spot a pyramid scheme or whatever. So I pulled up those list of questions, and these are the list of questions that she is pulling from. So how long have you been in the MLM? How much money did you make last year after expenses? She didn't answer that. She just answered, I don't really have a lot of expenses, blah, blah, blah. She didn't answer the actual question. Have you borrowed money, blah, blah, blah. Do you need to have recruits to make money? She said no, but we know the real answer to that. How many people have you recruited? How many did you recruit last year? She didn't answer that one. How many of your recruits have left the business? Didn't answer that one. What percentage of money you made came from selling the products to customers outside of the MLM? That's the one where she said, well, all of my clients that aren't coaches are those people, whatever that means. What percentage of the money you made, income and bonuses, less your expenses, came from recruiting other distributors and selling them inventory or other items to get started? So that question was essentially, what percentage of your income came from actual commissions on customer sales? And then what percentage came from bonuses and recruits and stuff like that, which I was so shocked when I did the breakdown from my back office when I went through and broke down my income, because the vast majority of my income came from different bonuses that you couldn't get unless you were recruiting. I'm talking 80% of my income came, and don't quote me on that because I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it was a very large percentage of my income was coming from bonuses instead of commissions, which is wild. That's telltale sign of a pyramid scheme. So she skipped all of those questions. Not sure why we're beating around the bush. I don't know why she wouldn't just want to tell us the answers to those questions. I do know that's a rhetorical question.
Like I am doing right now, out on my porch in the sunshine, which I love, during nap time, right? So it's really, every person's different. I have a girlfriend who works every day. This is her job and she works every day. So she's working full time, but flexible doing this business. And so it really is every person's own unique journey, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. So that's another thing that I absolutely love about this business. Did you sell all of your inventory? Well, guess what? I don't have any inventory. So that is a great thing, not having to have inventory in your own home, not feeling like you're getting stuck with anything in your own home or a product that, maybe won't sell or maybe will sell, right? So it's all directly from anything that my clients utilize is directly from the company. There was a question that they talked about on the Fox 25 news broadcast was, what was it? Oh, fees. So if somebody has a monthly fee, that's a huge, a big monthly fee. That's a huge red flag. So,
okay, so she started to say,
if anyone has a monthly fee, that's a huge red flag.
But then she stopped herself because, spoiler alert, Beachbody does have a monthly fee. She stopped herself and said,
well, like a huge monthly fee, then that's a red flag. But if it's a little monthly fee, that's not that big of a red flag,
One thing that I love to tell all of my people is that how incredible it is to spend $15 a month to have your own website, to have an entire shipping organization to ship all of the products that you have. You don't have to have inventory, right? So the ability to have, I forget what the word is, but basically a purchase and sales website, so not just your website that, promotes you, but an ability to send a cart to somebody. Like $15 for all of that is insanity. Like, you can't own a business or a storefront for $15 freaking dollars if you're doing it on your own. So people will say that that's a red flag to have a membership or business fee, but I'm going to say that $15 is nothing. And the other part of that is because we do get commissions, I mean, that's like paid off in like nothing, record time, for me at least. And it's not a high amount of money. And so all of our trainings, that's another thing is that they mentioned is, if you're constantly being required to do trainings that cost money, that should be a red flag. The trainings that we provide in our team are completely free and part of the experience and the journey.
Because there are literally other distributors giving these trainings. They're not professional trainings. And let's talk about the conferences and such, because do you pay for those? And those are trainings, right? All the trainings that are put on by your corporate team, those aren't free, are they? No, I didn't think so.
And what I do love is that anything that I learn from my team when it comes to my health and wellness coaching business is I can apply it to all other things that I'm doing right now. And so that is applying all of my knowledge and organization and time management to my nursing career. I can apply it to my new cookie business, which is ridiculous.
Wait, so she's still a nurse? I thought she was formerly a nurse and quit to do this full time, but wait, she's still a nurse and she has a cookie business and she runs she's like a part-time dance coach, which, by the way, I did my snooping as I do because that's just who I am as a person. And Miss Thang took out a PPP loan for her dance coaching company. So just saying. But no wonder she didn't have to take out any money to buy products. She has 87 jobs. Her husband's an engineer and she does Beachbody.
And I can apply it to being a mom and being a wife. And that is one thing that I love is that I have this freedom of time and ability to organize my life the way I want to see it and organize my time the way I want to use it. Nobody's sitting here telling me what I have to do, but at the same time, you have to have a little bit of confidence and determination to be sure that you get it done. And yes, of course, there are going to be people in this business that do not make any money because they're not working and they're not trying to. And then there's going to be people that excel dramatically because they're following what their leaders are showing them to do. And so this leads me to my last thought of the day. And that is, we are in a crappy, crazy time right now with inflation. Okay. And I don't usually care to think about these types of things, but I've been thinking about it a lot because I've been seeing a lot of posts about how people are struggling right now and they're struggling to make ends meet when it comes to gas being $65 to $70 to fill your tank and going to the grocery store and it's $50 more. And, not only are those things rising, but then you still have those bills to pay. And so with having multiple forms of income in a flexible ability to really dive into earning extra income in multiple ways is the ability to get through this really tough time for me. I am so fortunate that I do have the ability to work this business when I want, but I also have the ability to make the decision that I can work a little bit more when times are hard. So right now, it's funny, I don't have a worry in the world about this tragic inflation that's happening.
It's so funny. I wouldn't either if I had 82 jobs and an engineer husband. What? It's so funny.
And it's only because I have the support and the backing. Now, as always, we have to income disclaimer that all diligence and all money made is based off of the individual's hard-earned determination and work ethic. But I need for you to understand that this is possible for you. And I'm here to be able to guide you in doing exactly what I just shared. So if you've ever felt icky or yucky about a multi-level marketing, first of all, it's funny because a pyramid scheme is illegal, but a pyramid is how any organization is built. There's a CEO of every organization, and then there's the trickle-down effect.
It's funny that she starts every irrelevant argument off with, it's funny to me. Because what's funny to me is that they literally all use the same exact arguments. And they're all the same exact arguments that we do not care about. We don't care about the inventory, Barbara. We don't care about the pyramid structure, Barbara. That's not our issue. Why don't you address our actual issue?
Any business that is made. And what I love about this is that you get to be your own top dog. Like, you get to decide what happens after you. You get to decide when you work. You get to decide how hard you work. You get to decide where you want to take this. And what I love, again, is the flexibility of it and the ability to, in times of difficulty, make the decision for yourself and your family if this is something that you need right now. And what a better blessing is the main focus of this business is yourself and your health. That is the number one reason why I started this business, was to focus on me and to focus on my health first, so that I would be the healthiest, best version of myself for all of the lovely people in my life, my patients, my family, my children. At the time, it was future children that I didn't even know I would be able to have. This house that I can't believe I have. And I think about...
Your husband's an engineer. You could have all of that without Beachbody, especially with all your other 94 jobs.
How I can't even believe how much my life has transformed in the 7 years that I've been doing this. But I want to be able to help another person be here in 7 years and say, holy crap, like, I cannot believe where my life has gone. And so while there's myths and there's opinions and there is
facts, data, income disclosure statements to back up everything that we are saying, because I haven't heard one piece of evidence, factual evidence from any MLM rep to support the idea that MLMs are a sustainable business model. Not one piece of evidence.
A scared mindset when it comes to starting something new and starting something that seems to be on the rise of things right now. Like, what better thing to connect with human beings in this world? I mean, I've got friends that are in Canada that I would have never met.
I can think about like 50,500,000 that are better opportunities to connect with other people in the world.
From this business, I've got friends all over the world that I would have never, ever knew. Some of my best business partners right now on my team are people that I would have never connected with if it wasn't for this opportunity and them becoming clients of mine. And I'm so grateful. I really am. And gosh, I'm getting a little emotional. But I wanted to share that. I wanted to be able to speak the truth about what's...
She said, gosh, I'm getting a little emotional. So I tried to zoom in. I don't see any tears. No emotion.
What I'm doing in my life and what is possible for yours, and how I would love to be able to mentor you, guide you, and have you join us on this incredible journey of life and see where the possibilities can take you. I guess I would say that my mamas out there that are at home with their babies, what better way to be able to connect with other moms here in this world or even locally?
I would argue that there's probably not a worse way to connect with other moms.
Or even, like I'm saying, in this world of like Canada, like I've got girlfriends in Canada that I connect with on a regular basis. It's insanity. And let's see, the healthcare workers that are struggling hardcore right now. Like I just went through a 10-month strike. Another situation that I cannot believe that I got through. In some of it has to do with this business and being able to get through the hard time of this crazy healthcare transformation of a strike and a maternity leave that was far beyond extended. And I got through it because of the things that I built the confidence to be able to build a business and then also adventure out and do different things to be able to have supplemental income that I wouldn't have had the confidence to do. So
we're taking advantage of moms and healthcare workers who are struggling. Great. Cool. Anyways, there's only 24 seconds left, but I think she just says like bye and all that. So my main point in that video was to, one, show you that they are legitimately all the same. And two, to show you that she didn't answer the questions that she didn't want to answer because she knew that the answers would be incriminating. And three, refer to point 1 in reference to point 3. I mean, point 2. Anyways, they're all the same. And she did a great job of proving me right, just like the girl in the original video did a great job of proving me right. Like the girl in the original video admitted that she has over 2,500 distributors under her, and 10 approximately are making a livable income. 10. That says all that it needs to say, you guys. Like, that's all the information that people need when they're thinking about joining an MLM. Anyways, on to the next piece of piping hot tea. Actually, this is just lukewarm tea, and the next part of this tea session is going to be the piping hot tea. But this part of the tea session, I went to check the mail the other day, and I got this in the mail. There we go. I don't know if you can read it, but it says Federal Trade Commission protecting America's consumers. And I was like, fabulous. These It Works Huns are coming after me. They're about to take me under, and this is it for me. I'm done. So I opened the letter, and I was pleasantly surprised. So first, let me give you a backstory. So a lot of you guys know I obviously was with It Works for the majority of my time in the MLM industry. And I talk about how I didn't really know what MLMs were before I joined It Works, which is true. But I did join Advocare prior to joining It Works. But I didn't know that I was joining as a distributor. I was joining as a customer, but to get the discounted price on products, you had to join as a distributor, basically. But I wasn't told that. I was just told you have to join this membership in order to get the discounted price, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I did. Well, let me read you this letter from the FTC. It says, Jessica Gilliam, which is my maiden name. The enclosed check is your share of a settlement between the FTC and Advocare International. The FTC sued Advocare and the company agreed to pay $150 million to settle. According to the FTC's lawsuit, Advocare ran an illegal pyramid scheme and lied about how much money people could make selling its health and wellness products. Our records show that you were a distributor for Advocare and are entitled to a payment from this settlement. Please cash your check before this time, blah, 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 blah. And the check is attached at the bottom from the FTC Refund Administrator, Analytics Consulting, LLC. So I got a refund check from the Advocare settlement. So that was a nice, happy surprise. It's not that much, but it's still free money. Not really free money because I paid for it. But this gives me hope, you guys, that they are actually going to start looking deeply into these companies and start suing them, start bringing up these lawsuits. Because part of the lawsuit was that, let's see, lied about how much money people could make selling its health and wellness products. First of all, I didn't even know I was going to be selling. I thought I was a customer. But all MLMs do that. Literally all MLMs that are on social media right now lie about how much money that they can make with it. So that gives me hope that next up is going to be, hopefully it works, but at least one of the predatory MLMs that are taking over social media right now. Okay, and the last bit of tea, I've refrained from talking about this. Like when I did my It Works tea video, I was going to talk about this as well, but I didn't have any solid proof of who the other person was, so I didn't want to start spreading false information. However, in one of my previous videos, I think not this last video I posted, but the video before that, Joel, in the Joel and Steph video, Joel mentioned, I don't even know how to pronounce her word, interim CEO, interim, whatever, CEO. And I really didn't, truthfully, honestly, didn't even know what that meant. I knew like CEO, but I just skimmed over the fact that he said that. Like it didn't even register in my mind. So I was like, wait a second. Somebody told me a while back that they thought that the CEO of It Works was stepping down. And I was like, there's no way. But then the stuff happened with Mike leaving, and I was like, why would Mike leave? Like, I'm confused. This isn't coming together. But then he said that comment about the CEO, and so I did some digging. And initially, when you Google It Works CEO, I'm going to Google it just so I can show you guys. It says Mark Pentecost, which is the CEO that we know of It Works. However, that's outdated. You scroll down a little bit. LinkedIn says Jerry Presley, CEO at It Works Global. And this was I don't see it on here now, but this said it was last updated in September of 2021. So I was like, that's weird. I looked up this guy. The only guy I could find was like 30 years old or 35 years old or something. And I was just confused because it just didn't seem to add up. However, in that last video, Joel said, the interim CEO, you guys are probably going to give me shit for the way I'm saying that because I don't know how to pronounce it, but he said something about that. And then he said, Doug. So then, of course, I do my little snooping and I type in Doug, It Works Global CEO. And it came up with this guy that is like, I knew from the corporate level, but he worked in like the finance department. And I wasn't seeing him tagged in any of the stuff that was like the events or anything like that. But people are like constantly, all the top leaders are constantly posting about, you know, like this huge announcement that's going to come and they're going to make this big reveal. And like, it's just going to be such a shock, but it's such a good thing. There's so many changes happening and whatever. So I did my stalking. And I went to the CEO's daughters. So I've done a video on Cammie before. I've done a deep dive on her. I went to her page and was looking at some of the corporate events that she was tagging people in. And I found a guy by the name of, what is his name? Shit. So I found the guy who is now listed as the CEO of It Works. His name is Doug Hepfer, and it sounds like he owns a consulting firm where they go and they take over MLMs and use different like strategies to, I don't know, make the company more money. I don't understand why he would like take over completely because I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me that they would like hand over the entire company to someone else for them to like why wouldn't they just hire a consultant to help them turn the company around or whatever? Which, another point, this tells me that the company is going through some stuff. There is some turmoil there. They are struggling a little bit, allegedly, in my opinion, if they're hiring someone from the outside to come in and flip things around. So from what it sounds like, he owns this consulting firm where they flip MLMs, and he's done it with a few different MLMs, but right now he is the CEO of It Works. I don't know if Mark is still part of it. I know he's still part of it because he's still the one doing like the social media posting and stuff, but I don't know like if his name is still on the company. I don't know if he like sold the company to this guy. I don't know any of that. I hopefully will be able to find out soon. But I do have a feeling that the reason that Mike left, which is the guy from my It Works Tea video, I have a feeling that the reason he left was either because, one, he got laid off because this guy came in and said, listen, your corporate team sucks. We're going to replace them all. And that's why they have an entirely new corporate team aside from Mark's daughter. Or that Mike wasn't agreeing with Mark's decision to sell the company or to let this Doug guy take over. He gives me real Epstein vibes. I feel bad saying that, but like his vibe is just off for me. It just gives me real Epstein vibes. But I don't know. That's the tea though, you guys. The It Works CEO is no longer the CEO. Bing, bang, boom, pow. Anyways, you guys, I have a deep dive planned for the replacement girl that we talked about that replaced Mike. So I have that part already planned out in the timeline and everything, but I'm thinking of maybe doing a deep dive on like the entire new corporate staff, because it does seem like most of them have been with other MLM companies and they just brought in an entirely new team. And I know at least one of them does not have a very good reputation. So I might just do an entire deep dive on all of them as a whole and make that one video. Let me know if that's something that you guys would want to see, because that sounds like a lot of fun to me. You guys know I love doing my creeping, my digging, my stalking online because I'm just so good at it. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell if you'd like to be notified every time that I post. Don't forget to check out my new merch. It is linked in the description below. If you'd like to join my Facebook group called The Light at the End of the Pyramid, you can find that on Facebook, and it's just a community of people who are trying to navigate life post MLM together. And if you'd like to follow me on all social media platforms, you can find me at the Jessica Hixson. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
Moving slower.